Did you watch the basketball games, the playoff games
Okay,
yesterday?
so I so if you heard my previous episodes, I talked about my playoff predictions, right? And there's one prediction where I might walk back on, and that is I think I had the Clippers beating the Lakers, but now that I'm walking back on it, I'm probably gonna pick the Lakers over Clippers now,
Hold
and
on.
that's
Why
really
would
it.
you ever have the Clippers beating the
Okay,
Lakers?
if you want to hear, if you want to listen to my reasoning, that is on my different episode, but that's not the point here today. And I'm just gonna start off by being totally blunt that whatever Israel is doing right now, whatever Palestine is under conflict for, held accountable for, they're bombing the Al Aqsa Mosque, that is one of the holy sites of the Islamic religion. That is completely wrong of them to do so. And why is it? Because it is completely wrong to just flat out just take a land of something that, yeah, you may were promised of it, but at the same time it's not really your right to just magically just take it and or take it away from someone that you haven't really reached upon an agreement for. And that's really the entire wrong problem with this is that when you think of it from a when you think of it from their point of view, they're just saying, "Oh yeah, we're just getting the land of this on purpose." But when you think of it from a Palestinian point of view, you're just taking something that's just belongs to them, and then it just seems wrong because why the hell would you want to just take something and then now you're gonna bomb this holy site, and then now you're just saying, oh, please leave the land, but why the hell would you want to leave the land if it's holy?
Yeah, this is, in my opinion, I just think this is like a shitty situation for like everyone involved. Like, I mean, so you talked about the Al Aqsa Mosque. So I did like a little bit of research on what it was, and I found that it was like I'm not Muslim, but like it's the third most holy site in
Yes, you're
Islam,
correct, you're correct.
and like the Prophet and whatever, like all those important people prayed there, and so like I understand that it's probably really um significant, and I also looked a little bit more in.
I'm gonna also
Yeah,
be
yeah.
totally blunt in this is that a lot of people that are pro Palestine is not what I'm seeing for they're kind of blaming the Jews in this situation, but my problem is not with the Jews. My problem is just with the Zionists because the Zionists are really the big people behind everything in
Okay, yeah,
this.
this is what I wanted to ask you. I'm like slightly confused about like the like Jews and Zionists and things like that. Like you probably know, like since this conflict like really went back into the mainstream, there's like been a really like a rise in anti-Semitic attacks and things like that. But what do you mean by like Zionism or like
Okay,
Zionists?
so okay, so a Jewish person is just someone that believes in that whatever is a Jewish religion. Yeah, Jewish religion, someone just that believes in that. You cannot convert into that religion. You can leave, but you cannot convert into it because they believe they're the chosen ones. So what they do is that if your parents are Jewish, that's the only way you can be Jewish. Zionist is more of an extremist Jew. So it's someone that's really supporting Zionism more than Jewish, and it's someone that just believes in the development and the protection of the Israeli state.
So
So
it's
there's
like
there's
more.
it's more. So it's a lot. It's not really. It doesn't really have anything to do with religion. It's just there's actually a lot of Zionists. There's like black Zionists, white Zionists. It's like not all of them are Israelis.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
this is also one thing. Like when a lot of people, when also the people that are pro-Palestine, like some people, they criticize Israel, but they criticize Israel, but just because it's Jew. But that's not really the case. When you're criticizing Israel, it's not that you're criticizing Judaism, and it's not, and that's basically the same as like let's say like you know how a lot of people say or like a lot of what do you call it, like Alabama, like I don't want to call shout out Alabama, but a lot of those rednecks and stuff, they say like, oh, Islam's all about terrorism and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Basically I'm saying the same thing for the Jews. Like not every Zionist is a Jew. I mean, not as every Jew is a Zionist, just like now how every Muslim is a terrorist.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I see.
yeah. This is the post I was actually talking about. So I said criticizing Israel isn't criticizing Judaism, just like criticizing Saudi isn't criticizing Islam, or criticizing India isn't criticizing Hinduism. And don't use that as an excuse for your choice to remain silent against the unjust. But yeah, so long live Palestine, right there.
Mhm.
But you understand my point there, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So I was talking a little bit about the ceasefire, and I was looking into it a little bit, and I saw that it only talked about like the Gaza. Israel can no longer attack Gaza itself, but like you know how Palestine, it has like one section like the Gaza part, and then it has like a completely another isolated area. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but they could
I think I
still
know. I forgot what it was called, but they'll come back to me. But yeah,
West Bank, West Bank.
the West Bank. I thought the West Bank was for
Oh,
Israel.
West Bank.
I thought the West Bank was
Let
for
me.
Israel.
I'm gonna find a map. Map.
The map would say Israel is all over the place. So don't even trust the map right there.
Wait, but no, I know like the rough like location of it here. Okay. So I remember I'd seen like an
Okay, yo,
infographic, but
I know.
anyways.
Okay, well, this is from a person that's from I'm a pro Palestine. I'm not from. I'm with
Mhm.
Palestine. I'm a pro Palestinian. But I've
Wait,
also
wait, wait.
spoken
Before
to
you start,
people. I've also
before you
spoken
start,
to people.
one
Yeah.
second. Before you start, do you want to do something where I don't have like a proper stance on it, but I am like somewhat well versed on like the a little bit of the nuances of it. So do you want me to give like a different perspective to what you're saying, just to make it a little bit interesting?
Yeah, I'll get to that in a point, but I'm just saying,
Uh-huh.
from the point I'm trying to make is that I've spoken to people that are pro-Israeli, but they're not anti-Palestinian, but at the same time, so I know someone who is from Israel. He's half Jewish, so he's half Israeli, and he is pro-Israel just because he's more biased and he's he really likes the safety of Israel, the state of safety Israel is in. But at the same time, he is not pro-Palestinian just because he understands the point is that the the wars should be fought more by the governments rather than just killing its people. Just because the soldiers the soldiers signed up to attack other soldiers, they attacked to just attack other soldiers fight basically for governmental purposes, not just to attack on these innocent young beings, or just not even young beings, just innocents that, and especially a holy site there too. Like you can't just randomly just go, yeah, that's not what you signed up for. This is what this is what the person I've spoken to has said, and I respect that, but at the same time, I find that kind of intriguing just because of the fact that when you really think about it, the reason why Israel is in that proper state is because when the United Nations gave them that land in 1947, a lot of the surrounding countries around it, like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, I think Lebanon too, maybe I don't think Turkey did, but like those surrounding countries, right? They attacked Israel just because they didn't want the Jewish state. However, Palestine wasn't in that. It wasn't in that conflict. Their conflict was more of an. Are you still listening?
No, I am. I am.
Okay, yeah. So Palestine was more of an inner conflict with Israel. The reason why Israel is attacking them is because of what the. So yeah, that remember when I said last time I said Israel won two land wars.
Hmm.
So Israel won the two land wars against the Saudi Arabians of Egypt and all that, and the surrounding countries are surrounding it. But the issue was that Israel started to blame Palestine. I think, if I remember correctly, Israel started to blame Palestine, and that's why they're trying to expand on their state. Yet Palestine really didn't have anything to do with that conflict. So now that's when I'm going to you, since someone that's not really biased on either side. What is your opinion on this?
So like immediately to me, my number one ideal solution, which like we sort of touched on it in the last episode we did with together because we talked a little bit about it, was a two-state solution. And then we sort of talked about how it's sort of like going back with the history, it's kind of hard to do. But like I think when we look back at history, a two-state solution has been proposed and has been tried many, many times. In fact, it's been done proposed by the Israelis many times. In fact, it's been five times, I think, that there has been like a proposition to do a two-state solution, and each time Palestine disagreed within. I think there are like nuances to it, and I think there was something about the crop of the area that was allotted for Palestine to be like not that good and everything, but like I think no, although Israel does have like a lot of blood on its hands, there has been a history of Palestine sort of not cooperating when they had the chance to. Uh, if you want to say something against that, yeah, say something.
To be completely honest, it's really just that when you really think about it, a lot of the neighboring countries surrounding that area, right? They're more like the Saudi Arabia, Egypt. They don't, they're not allied to either one. So that's why Palestine didn't really have an opportunity to do that, because they just really wanted to do their own thing, such as Israel has a USA by its side, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah.
Israel has USA by their side, so it's not even that Palestine really, if they had the opportunity to, even if, whoever they did it, USA would backfire and attack whoever it is if Israel asked them to do so. So it's more of a, so out wait out. So what was your main point? Was that your main point was that Palestine couldn't didn't ally with
My
anyone
point,
when they had the opportunity to, right? That was
my
your
point
point,
is
right?
that Palestine had a lot of opportunity to agree to a two-state solution that would like define their
Oh, okay,
land
okay.
and things like that, but they didn't agree to it. A lot of you could call them rulers or prime ministers of Palestine at the time. They weren't cooperative. They were adamant in receiving that whole land, and I think that sort of urge to get that land ended up backfiring on them, at least now.
Okay, that was a door slam. And I don't know why she did that, but okay. No, no, yeah, someone came in my room. Okay, so I do agree with you there. Yeah, they really, something could have happened, but at the same time, why would they leave the land? Yet it's been their land for like the very, like for like the longest time, until like the UN just popped up and says, yeah, Israel takes half of this.
Yeah, see
Because
that's
you
that.
see this. The reason why, so Israel has all of it, all their borders guarded, right? They have all their borders guarded.
Uh-huh.
So they can't, so no one can enter, but everyone's supposed to leave. But Palestinians won't leave that because it's their home. It's their, they've inherited this for a very long time. And then apparently, yeah, this is what I've been looking into. Yeah, apparently there was a certain deadline that passed, right? That's why Israel is doing this right now.
Yeah. It actually started off with the annexation of that neighborhood, Sheikh Jarrah. That's what started this like whole conflict that's like happened today. Not like the history behind it, but what really came into the mainstream today. That's what sort of kicked it off. And even with the Sheikh Jarrah thing, there really is two sides of it because
And
on one
honestly,
hand,
yeah,
yeah,
okay, continue.
okay. With Sheikh Jarrah, it was sort of there was Jewish ties to that area, like and it was ruled on by courts that this is,
Okay,
uh,
wait.
yeah.
You're kind of giving a misconception there, because there are Palestinian Jews and Christians. Just Israel just hates Palestinians in general.
Okay, yeah. I should have made that distinction. My bad. If you want, yeah, talk about that distinction real quick.
No, I'm not talking about that distinction. I'm just saying, like you're saying, oh, they're just doing it because of the religious conflict. But I'm saying that's not really the case, because there's not.
I mean, historically, isn't it a religious conflict?
No, oh, well, a bit, but at the same time, it's more that the Jewish just want their land that they were supposedly promised a very long time ago, because they believe they're the chosen ones, right? Like I said early in the
Hmm.
pod, right? But I'm saying there are Palestinian Christians and Jews, so religion is not really the main point. It's just like I said, it's more of the Zionist problems than actual Jewish problems.
Okay. Okay, I'll make sure to clarify that and be
Yeah,
more
but
accurate. Okay.
I know your point still stands, but there's just a lot of
Hmm.
holes in what the argument you're giving me. Not that you're giving me your amazing points, honestly, but I think there's just there even stuff that there's probably stuff that I'm probably making up on it. Okay, I'm definitely not making up. I think everything I have is authentic, but what I'm think but there could be some other stuff that we just don't know, that just only Only just Israel and Palestine just privately investigating right now.
Hmm. I
This is
mean,
the
there's
we're just talking about the main stuff.
yeah. I mean, okay, so what do you if you want the best thing we can talk about right now as it's like way more relevant is we can talk about like the current events. Like say remember a couple days back we saw like those videos came of like the Israelis Iron Dome
Yeah.
shooting down the um
Yeah. Did you also see
Hamas's rockets.
there was also like 17 kids that Israel murdered. And
Oh yeah.
there were also I also saw some clips of a baby getting shot by a gun. No, it wasn't like an actual gun, I think. It was a rubber gun, but even then,
Oh,
that's
I
still
had seen I on someone else's story they had shared. I don't know what it was. You might have seen. You probably saw it. It
yeah,
was
yeah,
like
yeah, I probably saw
this
it.
video of like there was like 8 kids and they were all dead in a circle. Did you see that one?
And maybe
Okay.
there's so many, man.
Yeah. Okay.
I know it's
There was
all
one right there. That
okay.
one was like
Also,
so.
I think I gotta say one bit, right? So I've seen a lot of
Mhm.
people like so they say America stands with Israel, right? And then they give
Yeah.
this they show like two different sides. It shows Israel having the knee on Palestinians' neck, and then what happened last year for BLM, we know with George Floyd. They're
Yeah.
comparing that. And it doesn't really get me mad, but at the same time, I just go like, these are two completely different things
Mhm.
with different
Yeah. Like
contexts. So like I
ex-
don't know if this comparison is really valid.
it's not like one is like uh it's one first of all the one with George Floyd is like exclusively it's relevant extremely relevant to America as itself. The one
Mhm.
the things happening in Israel and Palestine
Also,
are
yeah, I actually
exclusively
forgot. Yeah,
yeah
wait, continue anyway.
the ones happening in Israel and Palestine are exclusively in Israel and Palestine, like that isn't happening in America. So like I think it's not good to compare these sorts of uh, instances. Just and it's just like it's not good to compare like something that's like very serious in America to something that's very serious in another part of the world, and I just don't
Okay,
think
yeah,
it's okay.
but going back to the topic, so well, the point I was actually gonna make up is that another comparison people actually make is when Hitler wiped out the Jews from Europe to flee for to what do you call it, to be refugees or something, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, and they're also comparing this to how Israel is dealing with this. So they're saying the irony of Israel is that they're doing what Hitler did to them, but
Bro, they aren't even comparable.
yeah, I know that I can understand the idea is sort of the same, but at the same time,
I mean,
it is kind of not hypocritical. It's more, it is kind of no, I don't know I don't know what words to sum all this up, but it is true that Palestinians were the ones that took in the Israel. They gave them the safety, and then now it's just backfiring on them. And
yeah, yeah, that is.
a lot of it is to do with the UN mostly, but but like
Look,
you understand. You
yeah,
understood. Like I
I
understand
understand.
the
I understand. I
idea is the
definitely.
same thing. Yeah, but I can agree that yeah, it's not really comparable to what Hitler did.
Yeah, so like I understand the idea, and I really do understand that like a lot of Muslims or Palestinians, they're like really struggling, and it's really hard to see like like your own people being like killed like that. But at the same time, I don't think that this like bombing campaigns and like even like the absolute worst of what you're seeing in Israel Palestine is even comparable to the Holocaust, just because like bombing campaigns are not the same as like systematically oppressing and killing a
Yo,
group to near extinction. But I do understand like the
the world,
sentiment
the
behind
world
it.
issue, the world issue that's really comparable to the uh holy man. So okay, something's happening outside. You hear that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something's happening. Okay, so okay, I think the point I was gonna make was that I think okay, hold up. Yeah, just continue talking about what you want. Let me do something.
All right. Okay. So I guess I'll keep on talking about what I think about the conflict. I mean,
Okay,
I mean, my
hold on. Okay, I'm back. I'm
okay,
back. Okay,
all
okay, I'm
right, all
back.
right, sick.
Okay, so I
I
said
was just about to start.
the world issue that is really comparable to the Holocaust is what's happening in China with the Uyghur Muslims.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's definitely fair.
that's like the closest. That's like the closest thing.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Also,
definitely like.
I also got to touch on it's kind of like slept under the rug because the world issue is kind of slept under the rug because of what's happening in Israel and Palestine, but what's happening in Afghanistan. Was you
Oh, I
seen
haven't
that?
heard about it. Tell me about it.
It's more so that so since Afghanistan, I think they're in the middle of a civil war. I need to do more research on it myself because it's also been under the rug, right? So it's more so that since Afghanistan is dealing with a civil war, a lot of houses are being burnt down, a lot of kids are dying. It's
Hmm.
it's more yeah. So a lot there's a lot of suicide bombings around, and the war of Iraq, I think, is costing like a lot of uh oh what do you, I don't like, can you help me with words?
Like,
like
what do you mean?
like resource not resources.
Oh, are you talking about the bombing of like that school where like a bunch of like girls were studying?
No, but I'm also talking about no, like of like the entire of what Palestine, not Palestine, Afghanistan, like all of Afghanistan, like not resources, but like I don't know, man. I cannot think of words, man. You're the big guy here.
Okay. Oh, wait. Be like, what are you referring to exactly? And then I can like explain it.
I'm just referring to like the what's happening in Afghanistan recently. So there's been like 50 suicide bombings, like it's and then yeah, like and also that school thing you told me you said about, but
Okay, so
yeah,
the school thing, I'm not too sure about the other things. I am aware of like the suicide bombings, but like I'm more aware of the what happened with the school. So in Afghanistan, there's like a really big problem with extremists. So like you have like ISIS, you have like a lot of these extremist groups like really active
ISIS is
over
in
there.
Iraq. ISIS in
Oh,
Iraq.
okay. There are extremist groups there, probably not ISIS, but
Yeah, yeah.
um they're all over, they're all there, but they have a lot of control over certain regions. Like each of these groups, they control areas. It's like a guerrilla warfare type thing. Like there's areas, and the losers here are the civilians who are trapped in this conflict. So it's not necessarily religious, although it is sort of religious. Not really. It's like religious
I never
extremism.
said it was a religion problem. I never
Oh
said it
no,
was a
no,
religion
no.
problem.
Religious extremism. I
Oh,
meant
okay,
that.
okay, okay.
Yeah, but a lot of these terrorist groups, they don't believe that women should get an education and that they should just like stay at home and things like that. So when there are
Mm.
these like women's schools and things like that, they're completely against it. That's how like the Malala case. Remember many years ago,
Yeah,
Malala?
that was very
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly, like that. And so like one of them went and they bombed the school because they don't agree with that, and and things like that. So it's really sad that those sort of things
But I
happen.
think
But
a lot of the problems that are happening in Afghanistan recently is just mainly due to the war that mainly due to like the aftermath of the war of Iraq and USA because they've been going at it for a long time.
I heard the U.S. Withdrew some troops from Afghanistan,
Hmm.
which is
Hmm.
good.
Yeah, but yeah, that's how Afghanistan's getting dealing with a lot of conflict right now because it's a more of a poor country, so that's why you see a lot of oh,
Hmm.
what do you? That's why you see a lot more stories like that, the bombing in schools and stuff. And I think there was also one thing I was going to talk about for the Israel-Palestine conflict. I think it was about. Okay, so I think I'm going to title this "Why Israel is Wrong," just because I think that.
Yeah.
But I was also going to say like it's kind of ironic for Israel to like guarantee for their like security and survival
Hmm.
for like and for like all the stuff they're doing for Palestine because even though yeah it's something they've also experienced too what we talked about for the Hitler thing but I know
Yeah.
that was a different thing but I'm saying it's kind of ironic that And also the thing is, Israel wants world peace and not world peace. They just want peace and freedom between both sides. And yet, what the problem that creates is that more violence and more destruction begins when you fight for more peace.
Honestly, the funniest thing that probably came out of the whole thing was, have you seen IDF has a TikTok account.
No, no, no.
They
I
have it,
haven't seen that.
they have a
Oh yeah,
TikTok
yeah, yeah,
account.
yeah. I've seen
and
so
and
many
I,
of
I saw
those.
this video. I saw this video, and they were like, "Oh, there was like this drone footage, and then they recognized that there was like some kids, and they're like, oh, hold off, hold off, hold off." And I guess what they were trying to say is that like they
The
do
ones,
everything they can
the
to
ones
like
I've
not kill
seen,
kids.
yeah, the ones I've seen was like the IDF. They're like there's two flags. There's Israel and Palestine, or sometimes they even do like the Sudan flag, UAE flag. Like they're kind of dumb. They're kind of dumbasses like that. But so yeah, and then they choose like I think you've seen that too, probably, right?
Which one?
It's like they show the two flags and then they go into one direction and the song's like Jalebi baby.
I don't think I've seen it, but I want to see it.
Okay, no, no, but it's very dumb because they just. I've also okay. Also, yeah. Remember when I said that there were also Palestinian Jews and Christians, right?
Uh-huh.
So yeah. So I've also seen a lot of this on TikTok. Is where like these people that are pro-Israel, right? So they go by, they just randomly just go, they start wearing the scarf and stuff, and then they go, oh, and then they're like, oh, psych, I'm not supporting Palestine, I'm supporting Israel. And then I just face palm like like I just go, oh my gosh, man. Because what they're basically doing is they're basically saying that the headscarf represents Palestine. Yet that's just flat out wrong. Just like I also think like a lot of people are just pro-Israel. Honestly, I could say that for Palestine too, honestly, but I think a lot of people are pro-Israel from what I've seen. Do they really educate themselves?
Oh,
Or do
oh,
they?
okay.
They
I see
definitely
what you're saying.
blindly follow.
They're pro Israel for like the sole reason of like not being for Palestine or things like that.
Yeah,
Okay. And like vice, yeah, okay. I see like how that could happen on both sides. Like some people who support Palestine, but they don't know why they support Palestine. They just support it because it's all over the news and the internet and things like that. And then like vice versa too. Yeah, I see
also,
that
yeah,
stuff.
I'm reading this article right now, right? It says, okay, so it says
Hmm.
Palestinians, however, are not massive victims. Our rights are not subject or conditional on Israeli recognition or acceptance of them. Our rights to be free and to live in equality in our homeland and our own state are in what the hell is that weird? In Allen in in
Inalienable.
inalienable. Oh yeah, see, you knew what. Okay, so we appreciate the United States' continued efforts to end the occupation that began in 1967, but we are not sitting for. Wait, who's we? What the? What? Oh, I think I'm reading something else. But we are not. But we are not sitting. But you're not sitting still waiting for freedom to be delivered to us. To achieve our aims, we are entitled to resort to all peaceful, nonviolent, legal means. This includes but is not limited to taking our case in the United Nations and other international forums, calling on other countries to recognize the Palestinian state on the 1967 borders, and working with the international community to realize Palestinian national rights of self-determination and statehood. And remember back when I said, oh, the United Nations are all in it, right? It's just that
Yeah,
the United Nations are with Israel and USA. And that's what I think they meant by we. They're
yeah.
waiting for Palestine to agree with them, and that's never gonna happen. I don't know if they're gonna like even if it does happen, but it's just gonna be more. It's just gonna be more that like they're just gonna continue on what they're doing, and then there's gonna be less Palestinians, and then the Israel would gain more power. That it's just really
The
it
main
really makes no
reason
sense
why, the
how.
main reason why, what's his, the United Nations supports Israel is, do you know what the UN Security Council is?
Yeah, is he a Zionist?
No. So the UN Security Council, it's like a group of like very influential nations like the United States, China. Russia and these countries. And so certain countries like the United States, they have veto power. They can veto any motion put forward just because of like, their historic contributions to safeguarding like freedom and democracy and things like that. And so all they brought forward a resolution to sort of say like call on a ceasefire of Israel. This was before the ceasefire. Now it would have
Yeah,
happened way
yeah.
before if
Also,
they had
yeah,
agreed.
I forgot the point I was gonna make for that article I was reading. I said because of all that, because of all that is Israel, USA, and United Nations just all like like a three-headed monster just attacking this small state or country. Like Palestine, I believe is a country, yeah, but like let's just
Yeah.
say it's a state in this case. This is why I think Palestine should be free because how the hell is this small state gonna withdraw from all of this like chaotic nuclear bound or not the United Nations, but even countries in the United Nations, like maybe like what other countries are known for there?
Almost every country except for like a
Basically, like
few.
South Africa, exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So like how the hell are they just gonna withdraw from that? That's just
I
my
mean,
idea on it.
Israel and Palestine, like half the countries in the world accept Israel and half of them don't, and then half the countries accept Palestine and not Israel. And so, like,
Yeah, I also saw this
eh,
thing. I said that Bangladesh, I think lifted a ban. They lifted a ban of like from flights to Israel.
oh, for real?
Yeah, and a lot of people, I think it was I think I saw it like on Instagram. A lot of people were commenting like, "Oh, traitors, traitors, traitors."
I think I saw
I
like a
think
lot of stuff about how people were saying like, oh, a lot of the Muslim countries in the Middle East, they don't even like support Palestine. Like they're not like
that's what I was saying
real.
earlier. That's what I was saying earlier. But then you ended up talking about more. Actually, I don't know. I don't remember what you said actually, but that's what I was saying earlier. Yeah, Palestine's not with those other countries, and Israel's problem is more with those countries because they're the ones that actually attacked for not Israel to not exist. Yeah,
Oh, that's what you were saying. Okay, yeah, I
yeah,
get what
that
you
was
mean.
my point. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that I definitely like I have
Wait, what was
sympathy
the
for
point you were trying to make before I cut you off?
like about the
The United
history like
Nations.
what I was saying was basically they put forward a resolution earlier before the newest ceasefire to have a ceasefire and like sort of temporarily resolve the conflict, and all the countries in the Security Council agreed to it except America, which means it went on, which means they didn't get the ceasefire because America, remember how I said it has veto power.
Actually,
That's
speaking of America, I'm actually gonna touch on a little bit. Or I remember you telling me you were pro Biden, right?
uh well yeah, in this election, yeah, I would have been pro Biden.
And what was your reasoning on that?
So it's the better of the two. Like I mean, I used to support Trump when I was intelligent and everything, but like I think he's doing a good job right now. I think he's doing a good job. He's like contributing good to the economy. He's doing good with COVID and things like that. But I think
Also, yeah,
overall
yeah.
he was the better option.
I'm just gonna say this for the people listening. If you don't believe me that Israel has more resources than Palestine, just look at the vaccination rates.
Oh
Israel's
yeah,
first.
dude, they have the higher vaccination rate than
I think
Canada.
apparently in the world, you mean?
Like they have the highest thing in the world.
In the
I mean,
world, yeah.
yeah.
I think you said in Canada, but I think I must have
No,
heard
no,
wrong.
like even more than Canada.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But I think one of my friends told me that Israel created their own, and that's why they created their own vaccine. That's why they were able to get that out and not just like buy it.
No, I honestly have to look at that. I'm not too sure if that's true because there were only like a few companies that have been like completely certified, maybe like six or seven to to make the thing.
Yeah, yeah. I think Israel was one of the
Let me see.
parts. I think Israel was one of the things that created their own. Because I don't know if it was true, but it kind of makes sense for them to have the highest vaccination rate and them creating their own because that like they have to create their own in order to have the highest vaccination rate.
Um, No, 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 they, oh, actually, no, they did develop their own vaccine. No, you're right. You're right. They did develop their own vaccine. Yeah, you're right.
By the way, yeah, I was gonna say, have you been to the protest recently?
No, but I saw like a lot of videos of it.
Yeah,
I don't
same.
know. But it kind of looked
I
like an absolute shit show. I'm not gonna lie. Like
really
it was, yeah, yeah. I don't know. It was like really disorganized. Like I saw like a lot of, yeah. I don't know, but I do like respect people who go out and like protest for like what they believe is right. I have mad respect for
it
that kind of
depends on
like.
what it is.
Oh, honestly, like okay, unless you're like actually like advocating for like racist shit, then like no. But like other than
Like the
that, I
BL,
think.
like the BLM parades.
No, I mean, I support that. Like, you should have the right to voice your
Actually, yeah,
opinion.
yeah, you're right. But
But
okay, yeah,
at, at the
but
same
not to
time,
the
I
point where
don't
you
support
burn.
violence.
Yeah, not
I
at the
don't
same time where
support.
you burn cars, take down street lights.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, I
yeah, then
agree with
not
that.
yeah. Then at that point, it becomes a riot, basically.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is a riot, basically. hmm
man, that.
I agree.
But at the same time, like a lot of, I'm not gonna say quote unquote liberals, because remember when I said I was gonna talk about. I'm not gonna say quote unquote liberals, but I will say there are a lot of people out there. I'm not gonna. I don't even know anyone honestly, but I do see the point of people just supporting BLM. What else is there? Whatever else there is, but they don't say a word on just this Palestine movement just because of them, just because of their liberal, just their liberal point of view on it. Which I don't really know what a liberal point of view of it. Like what are you gonna like? What's a liberal point of view on this situation? You're just gonna are you just gonna say, oh, uh Israel doesn't mean to do this, so they're good. Like I don't even know at this point. Like, do
Liberals
you
are
want to
weird.
elaborate on that? Do you want to elaborate? Yeah.
Liberals.
Do you want to elaborate on like if like what a liberal point of view can
Okay,
look
so
at this situation?
from what I've seen, the liberal point of view. Okay, what do you mean? Like ideology? Their ideology is liberal, or like the Liberal Party of Canada?
Their ideologies are
Their
liberal.
okay, the ideology. Okay, I think the liberal ideology would side with Palestine, but the Liberal Party of Canada
Canada
would
will definitely
support.
do Israel, yeah,
Yeah.
because Canada really hasn't done anything so far, and it is shown that they are with Israel. I think they were openly said it too. I
No, they're
don't.
like so clearly with Israel. There.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying I think they also stated it too. I think not Trudeau, but I think someone did.
hmm Oh, there was a video. There was a video. I have you seen it? The video of like Trudeau stating so clearly that he's with
I haven't
Israel.
even seen like I haven't even seen like
I'm gonna
I haven't
send it
even
to you.
seen video. No, no, no. Honestly, I think it's best not to because I think I would just know.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think. Well, so I think I don't know how long this has taken. I think we've been at this for like 30 minutes now. So, is there anything else you want to add?
I don't have anything more to add, but I will say like I said it before, but like I do sympathize with like Palestinian people and like they're not being treated fairly. It's I
Yes.
hope
So
like
yeah. So
everything gets
what's
better
your
for them.
overall what's your overall point of view on
My
this? Like,
overall
are you pro Palestine? Are you pro Israel? Are you anti Israel, pro Palestine? Is that it's because that's what it seems to me.
I'm okay. I'm pro Israel if you or not pro Israel. What the shit? Okay, I'm pro Palestine in the sense that I want Israel to stop committing violence against um, Palestinians because it's like human rights violations. But at the same time, I want to see like a two-state solution being reached because I do believe that both people deserve some claim to some portion of land.
Well, I'm gonna be totally blunt here. Israel is
Yeah,
wrong. I'm pro
like
Palestine for
like
sure,
for
but
like
like
what? Like the attacks they're doing on Palestinians are like fundamentally.
both, honestly. Okay, yeah, fine. Fundamentally, they may have like some issues that I can not issues. They may have some things that I can agree with and say like, all right, yeah, fine, it makes sense why you're doing it, but like, no, it might not make sense. It makes I understand what your concept is like and like what you're trying to achieve, but the way and the way you're approaching that goal and the way you're dealing with all of this is not is like what you could definitely do that better. You can definitely
Mhm.
do a better job at that. And at the
Yeah,
same time, at the end of the day, like I said this from the very beginning, it's more of a Zionist problem than it is a Jewish problem.
yeah, that's
And
true.
yeah, and also yeah, I might touch on basketball again. I also said I might look at another series, and I think I said Nuggets in seven before for the first round. I might walk back on that and say maybe say the Blazers, but I this is very tough. This is probably the toughest series to really ask.
Shout out to Jamal Murray. He's from Kitchener.
Jamal Murray's injured. That's why I'm
Oh,
very.
but
That's why
have
I'm.
you seen? Have
That's
you?
why I'm very. That's
Oh
why
yeah,
I'm
yeah. What were you
very.
saying?
Yeah, that's why I'm very skeptical on this series because I don't know. Like, it's the Nuggets were fine without Jamal, but I don't. I don't know. It's just I had Nuggets in seven against the Blazers, but I might walk back and say maybe Blazers in seven, Blazers in six. I don't know, man.
Mhm.
I think I'll stick with the Nuggets right there. I think they're fine. I mean, if they get out, like it'll probably be a tough fight.
Did you see the Trey Young shot yesterday?
Yup, yo, I was so hyped for them. I want the Knicks to
Yeah,
lose so bad.
they're in the playoffs. No way. Oh, I just saw the highlights, so I that's how the only way I knew. I didn't realize it was the Knicks. I thought they were garbage.
Yeah, they've been garbage for the past few years, but not of this year is mainly because of their defense. But the reason why I had the Hawks is because of I well, it's because I do agree the Knicks are probably at a great coaching advantage, but talent wise and I know there's more to the game than just talent, but great offense defeats great defense. And I think yesterday proved that when Trey Young hit that. Bro, Trey Young is cold, man. That was a
Yeah,
I was jumped and said, like, yo, this is probably
but it was so close to rolling out. Like it was. I saw like
I
the.
think I yeah, from seeing watching yesterday's game, like it made me think maybe Trey Young is a top five point guard in
I
the
mean,
league.
I don't know. I don't think you could just make that conclusion off one play, right?
No. But this guy's been doing this for this entire season.
Oh, really? I haven't
Yeah.
followed too
So
much of the whole season, so I'm not too sure. But
all right, oh yeah. So I think either way, I think we're just getting off I think we're just getting
yeah,
off
true.
topic too much. So
Yeah,
yeah, so you don't really have anything to say about
nah,
this conflict, and we don't really have anything politics to say because I think we covered more on that in the first one,
yeah,
which we were just talking about what we believe in. And yeah, I really have nothing else to say. I think I'm very skeptical on that series, but that's really it. And I
yeah.
did change my take on the Lakers versus Clippers, but yeah, if you want to listen, and yeah, this is the All Facts No Cap podcast. If you want to listen to our previous episodes, make sure you check that out. And it was great to have you on again, Aditya. I very much appreciate it. And this was like what your second episode, like this is
Second episode in
like
what,
five
3 weeks?
episodes. Yeah, what maybe you can come back on if something pops up again because this Israel Palestine thing just woke us up and we were like, yo, we gotta make another episode. So
Yeah.
we're like, so yeah, so I think everything's fine now. So everything, yeah, Aditya, do you have anything to say before we go?
Nah, I don't got anything to say, but Horace, thanks for having me
Yeah,
on.
free
And
Palestine, save Sheikh Jarrah, free Palestine, long live Palestine. I don't want to swear, but Israel, you're just wrong. But I'll just say that instead of just to being more polite. But I'm really gonna say, oh no, okay, this is All Facts No Cap podcast, and I'm Horace Bakar, your host, and I'm gonna sign out in three, two, one.